Right now on Today in AZ, Salt Lake City showdown.
Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to add,
in.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
We're breaking down the biggest moments from last night's vice presidential debate.
From the debate stage to State 48, Battleground, Arizona is heating up with a first-time visit from the Biden campaign and another visit from Vice President Mike Pence. We have team coverage of both stops and the 3 things you need to know before heading out.
Plus, a busy morning out on the roads. I'm keeping you up to speed before you head out.
And cool down central. The triple digits are getting the boot for cooler mornings and afternoons. I'll let you know when in my full forecast. Today in AZ starts right now.
6:30 here on Today in AZ. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Ryan Cody.
And I'm Rachel McNeil. Good morning to you. Well, last night's vice presidential debate was on fire. The candidates talked about big topics like social justice, the economy, and COVID-19. Well, now, just hours after leaving the stage, both camps are headed to Arizona.
This morning, we do have team coverage from Peoria and Tempe ahead of visits from Vice President Mike Pence, as well as Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden and his running mate Kamala Harris. We're going to Jen and Tricia in just a few minutes, but first we need to talk about this beautiful weather. And when I say beautiful, I'm really talking about the weather moving forward at this point, Crystal.
I feel like each day we're like, okay, is it here yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Well, at least we've been treated to some pleasant mornings. Officially at 6:28, that sun poked its head out and has risen on what potentially could be our final triple-digit day, and that's going to happen sometime between now and by the time the sun sets at 6:02. So be ready in the PM hours. But for the AM, glorious. We're getting our fall fix right now. It's 73 in Phoenix, in the 60s to points south, up in the high country 30s there, but a surplus of about 10 degrees on the thermometer this afternoon as we are once again in the triple digit zone from Phoenix to Tucson, Yuma, up to Bullhead City. But all of these numbers are going to start lowering even more so tomorrow. Your extended forecast is still ahead.
All right, thank you, Crystal. At 6:32 this morning, we do have a closure due to a deadly crash that took place last night. The I-10 eastbound just past Queen Creek Road is closed, so all traffic is exiting at Queen Creek Road there. Definitely some major delays in the area. When we take a look at the maps, we see a lot of red, and that traffic starts to slow down as you hit Wild Horse Pass Boulevard. We're in the red zone, so it's stop and go. So definitely allow yourself some extra travel time when you're heading out there in that area. I'll keep you updated on when that closure reopens, but there's no details on that just yet. For the rest of the valley, we have a lot of green, but we see one area slowing down. I'll give you those details coming up in my next report. Rachel?
Thank you, Vanessa. The vice presidential debate was on fire last night. A lot of topics were covered, and there were a lot of big moments from both Vice President Mike Pence and Democratic vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris.
The two squared off in Salt Lake City, and that's where we find Camila Bernal with the breakdown of the big night. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Rachel and Ryan. This debate was absolutely more polite than what we saw last time, and it's despite the fact that Mike Pence blew over the moderators' efforts to try to enforce the time limits that were agreed to before the debate by both campaigns. But these two overall stayed on message. They're good at delivering the message that their campaigns wanted them to do, and so, of course, both campaigns happy this morning with their performances. But the theme of the night was avoiding the questions.
Though a notably more civil and substantive affair than last week's presidential debate, the face-off between vice presidential candidates Mike Pence and Kamala Harris was still contentious.
He interrupted me, and I'd like to just finish.
The candidates pulling no punches on key issues like climate change, foreign relations, and health care.
If you love someone who has a pre-existing condition, they're coming for you.
Obamacare was a disaster.
But from the start, the plexiglass barrier highlighted a huge issue of the campaign, COVID-19. Harris zeroing in on the pandemic's impact.
210,000 dead people in our country. Over 7 million people who have contracted this disease. 1 in 5 businesses closed.
And challenging Pence on the strategy going forward.
Today, they still don't have a plan. They still don't have a plan. Well, Joe Biden does.
Pence, however, echoing President Donald Trump's narrative of success.
He suspended all travel from China. That decision alone by President Trump bought us invaluable time.
But in a race where the two oldest candidates in history are running at the top of the ticket, neither Pence nor Harris was willing to articulate a plan for the transferring of power in case of presidential disability.
Now, in terms of speaking time, they each got about 36 minutes, so equal in that sense. Ultimately, this debate was about Donald Trump, and it even has more significance now that this could be the last debate where we see two candidates face-to-face, in person, debating before the 2020 election. Rachel, Brian.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall of last night's vice presidential debate. Or a fly on the hair of Vice President Mike Pence. That was actually, look, it's 2020, and this is what some people on the internet have chosen to spend all their time talking about so far today. So we'll talk about it too, I guess. Carol getting in on the action here. You saw, let's show you this video first of all, because this wasn't just a fly landing on Mike Pence's head for like 2-3 seconds. We're talking about 2-3 minutes. I mean, this fly is not going anywhere right now. Really anchored onto the vice president. And that's a significant fly. I mean, that's no little fly. It's like a horse fly. We had one of those here in the studio a couple times. I'll tell you what, it's not fun. I get it. I understand, but it clearly blown up the internet. Carol said that I survived Pence's hair. Hilarious stuff right there. Andrea jumping on with the fly swatter herself. And speaking of the fly swatter, the Pence campaign, not the Pence campaign, the Biden campaign, jumping on it. They're already selling fly swatters for $10 to try and raise some money here. And that's the thing about this is the Joe Biden campaign jumped on this real fast, posted this picture. I don't know how they just had this photo ready to go. How could they have done this? Maybe they released the flies into the place last night. Who knows? Either way, this fly, and maybe it's because people are just trying to laugh a little bit in 2020, and this thing has been so contentious that maybe this was just the way the internet works. But the Flygate was going out of control last night if you watched on the internet, and you can find a lot of these posts so far this morning. So it's just the way it goes, Rachel. I mean, this is where we are in 2020 in politics.
Well, the future of the second presidential debate is up in the air right now. President Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden are expected to hit the stage in Miami on the 15th. This morning, though, we learned that the debate will be virtual, though President Trump announcing this morning he has no interest in participating in a virtual debate. So what happens now? Well, we have to wait and see. We'll bring you as many updates as we get them. New this morning, the battle over the voter registration deadline in Arizona continues. Monday was supposed to be the last day Arizonans were allowed to register, but a judge agreed to extend the deadline until the end of the month. Last night, Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich filed an emergency order challenging the ruling, saying courts should not be allowed to change laws at the last minute. Also developing right now, a federal appeals court blocked a move that would give Arizona voters who forget to sign their early ballots time to fix them. Democratic groups argue that voters should be given up to 5 days to fix and send back their ballots. A judge disagrees, saying providing the extension would create confusion when it's time to count votes. It's unclear when a judge will make a final ruling on early ballots. Early voting has already started here in Arizona. So the VP debate is now in the books. Candidates are now heading to State 48. Last night was action-packed, and both camps plan to bring that energy to the Valley today.
Our team coverage continues with our energy right now. Trisha Hendricks live in Peoria, where in just a few hours, people will begin lining up to hear Vice President Mike Pence speak.
Good morning, guys. Yes, this is where Vice President Mike Pence is going to be with Second Lady Karen Pence, and they're going to be visiting Arizona for a Make America Great Again event this afternoon. Here are three things you need to know about their visit. Air Force 2 is going to be touching down at the Goldwater Air National Guard Base. That's at 1:20 p.m. The Vice President is then set to speak at a campaign rally at Tier Tactical here in Peoria at 2:30. If you want to attend, doors open to the public at 12:30, and they'll be closing at 2 p.m. ahead of his speech. And like you said, this isn't the only campaign visit happening in Arizona today. Here's Team 12's Jen Wall with more on what Joe Biden has on his schedule. Jen?
Yeah, good morning to you, Tricia, and thank you. So this is the first time both campaigns are going to be right here in Arizona. And as far as the Biden camp goes, well, for the first time in their campaign trail, former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Kamala Harris are both going to be in Arizona and the Valley today. Their stop is part of the Soul of the Nation bus tour. They're scheduled to talk with small business owners and voters in both Phoenix and Tempe. And though no specific locations have been announced yet, Biden and Harris are also expected to meet with Native American leaders. And this afternoon, Team 12's Bram Resnick will have a one-on-one interview with Senator Harris. So stay with 12 News for the latest on that and everything for Decision 2020. For now, we're live in Tempe. Jen Wall, Today in AZ.
Jen, thank you. In an effort to curb the spread of misinformation, social media sites are cracking down on its users.
We've already seen changes from Twitter, which now flags tweets with bad information. Now Facebook is getting in on the action, so let's connect the dots.
Facebook was at the center of controversy after the 2016 presidential election when word leaked Russian operatives had used the site to influence the race. So what is it doing differently this election? Let's connect the dots. Facebook just announced it will ban political ads as soon as the polls close on Election Day this year, which seems pretty odd considering all votes should be in at that point. But according to reports, the company is concerned the site could be used to spread false information about the outcome. So now they will prohibit all political and issue-based advertising indefinitely after polls close November 3rd. And that's not all they're doing. Facebook says it will place notifications at the top of the news feed to notify users that no winner has been declared. It will rely on a mix of news outlets, including the Associated Press and Reuters, to declare a winner in the presidential race. It is also trying to prevent promoting election interference. Facebook plans to remove any posts calling for people to show up at the polls if they include language that suggests violence, intimidation, or an attempt to control. This all comes after the company has run over 80 possible scenarios of possible outcomes in an attempt to predict an unpredictable year.
And our coverage of political events around the Valley continues on 12news.com and the 12 News app. Just head to 12news.com/plan your vote for everything you need to know.
And still ahead on Today in AZ, Hurricane Delta still heading towards the Gulf. The powerful storm is losing some steam overnight, but could still be on track to do some damage to the Gulf Coast. Coming up, meteorologist Crystal Henderson has a look at where the storm is expected to hit next.
And bringing the community together, how a bread company is leaning on its neighbors to help keep their bakery in business.
It's one of the most active presidential elections in recent history, and Arizona is under the spotlight. Whether you're red or blue, get all the political action right here on Square Off, Sundays at 8 a.m., only on 12 News.
Want to sell your home for 5% more? 5% more than if you sold the traditional way. 5% more than if you sold to anyone else on TV. Well, at 72 Sold, we have a program designed to sell your home in just 72 hours for up to 5% more than if you sold any other way. Thinking about selling? Just put in your address and get a price, a higher price, up to 5% more for your home at 72sold.com. That's 72sold.com.
Want to drive off in a 2020 VW Atlas? Or with your share of up to $400,000 in cash? Play Win and Drive every Sunday in October. 40 winners, and one will take home a brand new VW Atlas, only at Talking Stick Resort.
Raising two daughters, we went through a phase where they thought they had all the answers. Thankfully, they grew out of it. I wish I could say the same for Washington politicians. Unlike some in my party, I will never vote to eliminate private health insurance. But I will focus on making healthcare more affordable, lowering the cost of prescription drugs, and protecting coverage for pre-existing conditions. It's time for Washington to solve problems, not create more of them. I'm Mark Kelly, and I approve this message.
Donald Trump is lying again. Joe Biden will not raise taxes on anyone making under $400,000. Biden will close tax loopholes for big corporations. Trump's tax cut giveaway exploded our debt, so he's threatening Social Security and Medicare. Biden will make the wealthy and big corporations pay their fair share, so we can protect Social Security and Medicare and invest in schools and health care.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
My patients have to put every ounce of energy into getting healthy. They can't afford to fight insurance companies. But Martha McSally voted to let insurance companies deny coverage for pre-existing conditions. She took $600,000 from the insurance industry, and my patients worry they'll lose every single dime. Kids with asthma, diabetes, women with breast cancer. McSally is so desperate to stay in power, she's putting the lives of Arizona patients at risk. It's wrong.
SMP is responsible for the content of this ad.
Want to drive off in a 2020 VW Atlas? Or with your share of up to $400,000 in cash? Play Win and Drive every Sunday in October. 40 winners, and one will take home a brand new VW Atlas, only at Talking Stick Resort.
This morning on Today, Hoda joins a hero nurse manager as he returns to the ICU to say thank you after recovering from COVID.
You're not just any patient, you're their friend.
It was a very emotional time for me. These folks saved my life.
Their heartwarming reunion this morning on Today.
The Weather Report is sponsored by 72 Sold, where you can sell your home in just 72 hours for thousands more than if you sold with a traditional real estate agent.
Welcome back to Today in AZ. Well, all eyes right now are on the Gulf as Hurricane Delta is barreling towards cities along the coast there. The powerful storm made landfall in Mexico yesterday morning, bringing flooding and heavy winds to the area.
Well, fortunately, the storm didn't do much damage. This is a look at some of the flooding left behind in Cancun. Delta was downgraded to a Category 1, but is expected to pick up speed and power as it moves across the Gulf.
Late yesterday, leaders in Texas and Louisiana issued the first storm warnings ahead of Delta's arrival. Out in Louisiana, the National Guard is putting out sandbags to try and help control any of the storm surge and potential flooding that could come from this. And Crystal, we can't say it enough, these storms are really, really dangerous, whether it makes landfall as a 2 or a 3. I mean, look at the size of that thing. It almost encompasses the entire Gulf.
I think everyone in the Gulf states is all on the I'm done boat. Back-to-back blows throughout this hurricane season, and now Delta on course to crash into the Louisiana coastline sometime in the PM hours on Friday, with winds near 100 miles an hour and life-threatening storm surge. Meantime, our water cooler topic is the fact that we might be capping off our final triple-digit day today in Tucson, Lake Havasu, Phoenix, Yuma. Yes. Farewell, so long. The record latest last, though, we've managed to pull off on October 27th in Phoenix, so it can happen, but I'm not throwing it in the extended forecast, so it looks like we will be spared, at least as far as things are panning out right now. Who would figure that on this very date 2 years ago, we were waking up to snowfall in the White Mountains in our higher elevation neighborhoods? Instead, today, we're going to tack on an additional digit to these tallies. There have been 140 triple-digit days so far this year in Phoenix and Lake Havasu. We'll be bumping that up today. 139 for Yuma. We've locked in 107 in Tucson. It's going to be another day where we refill on that sunshine, so there's a high UV index. Make sure you have the sunblock, the lotion. It is bone dry out there, and the allergy meds. Pollen is at a medium right now. It's been really causing a lot of sniffles and sneezing for me. Probably driving you crazy, too. And then now we're going to throw in some windy weather into the mix. Oh, that's just going to drive your allergies nuts. Wind gusts over the next several days, especially in our higher elevations, could jump 20, 30 miles an hour. Down points south, that sun shining for you. It'll be breezy over the weekend. This could be the last 100-degree day that we polish off in our lower desert locations. And then double digits tomorrow and beyond with those mornings in the 60s. Just keep in mind that the increase in winds over the weekend is going to elevate fire danger.
All right, thank you, Crystal. It is 6:49 in the morning, and I've been keeping an eye on this closure all morning long on the I-10 eastbound just past Queen Creek Road. It closed last night due to a deadly accident, and they've been doing their investigation all morning. But I do have an update for you. The left lane has reopened. However, we still have some heavy traffic in that area. It is backed up. A lot of traffic is exiting at Queen Creek Road. When we take a look at the maps, we do see some orange here and some red in the area. So still, allow yourself some extra travel time when you're heading out there this morning. Hopefully it'll ease up within the next few minutes or so. For the big picture, we have green in the East Valley on both of the 202s and the 60. The 51 looks great. Same thing with the 17. But we do see some traffic building up as you're heading towards downtown Phoenix. Rachel?
Thank you so much. A popular Mesa bakery is having to move their business out of their home. It's an expensive transition, one they weren't really ready for. Team 12's Jen Wall explains what's behind the sudden move and how you can help.
On this Mesa neighborhood street behind these walls, the sounds and smells of a cottage bakery fill this room. Proof Bread is a locally run old world style of baking with more than 70,000 YouTube subscribers.
We make it super slow, long fermentation, local stone mill grains.
Owners John and his wife Amanda spent 3 years building their business at their home. They're being forced to move sooner than they'd planned.
My initial reaction was despair.
The city of Mesa citing code violation and giving Proof Bread this notice. It says the business has to find a new space by January 15th or they could be fined.
It was heartbreaking, to say the least. But it's hard for me to stay there very long.
Proof Bread turning their despair into opportunity.
Excitement is starting to take root more and more because we see a light at the end of the tunnel.
John says they found a space in their dream location in downtown Mesa.
We have had our hearts set on moving into that district.
He says it'll cost about $250,000 to set up the space with basics, and in just days a GoFundMe has raised more than $55,000 for the community bakery.
Without the community's help right now, we will be looking at basically taking on a full second mortgage.
We reached out to the city of Mesa about the bakery's move, and they told us the city staff will evaluate the January 15th date as it gets closer.
We're essentially fast forwarding our dreams.
Jen Wall, 12 News.
And still ahead on Today in AZ, have you seen this video? Well, this guy went viral, and now it's actually paying off.
12 News Traffic to Go by Lerner and Rowe.
Lerner and Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
12 News celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month, featuring the colorful lives and rich traditions that make our Latino community great. Watch the stories that inspire us all at 12news.com/YouTube. Feliz mes de la herencia hispana.
It is my father's love. It is his passion. It is his fault he didn't lock the garage.
Don't even think about it. Been there, done that.
With LiftMaster powered by MyQ, know what's happening in your garage from anywhere.
America invested millions making Mark Kelly an astronaut, but after he left NASA...
That's Mark Kelly? Wow, that's pretty sexist. And he got paid for this. I expected more from Mark Kelly.
Mark Kelly got rich sitting on the board of a restaurant company accused of sexual harassment.
They forced women to sign away their rights to be able to sue for sexual harassment. That makes me sick. I don't like how he treats women.
Mark Kelly will really do anything for $1.
Defend Arizona is responsible for the content of this advertising.
First as a police officer and now in Congress, Tom O'Halloran has always protected our families. During the COVID crisis, O'Halloran is fighting to expand paid sick leave and delivered hundreds of millions for hard-hit communities. And he'll never let insurance companies deny your health care because of a pre-existing condition. O'Halloran worked with both parties to bring home over $1 billion for our schools, better preparing them for these tough times.
I'm Tom O'Halloran, and I approve this message.
President Trump made a promise to protect our Social Security and Medicare. He kept that promise, and he always will. Today, Social Security and Medicare are strong. And under President Trump, they will never be cut. President Trump is protecting pre-existing conditions. Prescription drugs are more affordable. The cost of insulin is going down. Under President Trump, our benefits and our health care are safe and secure.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Because of a rare blood disorder, I need monthly chemo infusions to survive.
That's why I'm so afraid of Mark Kelly and Joe Biden's plan to put government in charge of our health care. Their dangerous plan could take away our choice of doctors and threaten the quality of care I depend on, hurting those of us with pre-existing conditions the most. That's why I support Martha McSally. I know Martha will fight to protect people like me and make sure every Arizonan has quality, affordable health care.
I'm Martha McSally, and I approve this message.
With free in-garage delivery from Key by Amazon, you can take a day off from worrying about your packages. Just connect your MyQ app to Key. Get free in-garage delivery with MyQ and Key by Amazon.
We've got a new feature inside the 12 News app called Near Me. Share a photo or video with us directly from your camera roll. Download the 12 News app and see what's going on near you, and welcome to the team.
Grab your news to go before you head out the door. The vice presidential debate is in the books. Vice President Mike Pence and Democratic vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris took to the stage last night in Salt Lake City. This morning, we're asking you, who do you think won that debate? This morning, 71% of you are thinking it was Senator Harris. 29% think it's Vice President Mike Pence.
I'm Trisha Hendricks in Peoria. Fresh off of last night's debate, Vice President Mike Pence and Second Lady Karen Pence are going to be here in Arizona today for a Make America Great Again rally this afternoon. It is set to begin at 2:30 here at Tier Tactical. This is a military gear facility. It's just the latest visit from a Team Trump member, with polls showing a really tight race in our state. If you want to attend the event today, the doors open at 12:30 and they'll close at 2 p.m. ahead of the Vice President's 2:30 speech.
I'm Jen Wall in Tempe. For the first time this election year, former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Kamala Harris are making their first 2020 campaign stop right here in Arizona, including in the Valley. Their stop is part of the Soul of the Nation bus tour. They're scheduled to talk with small business owners and voters in both Phoenix and Tempe, though no specific locations have been announced yet. Biden and Harris are also expected to meet with Native American leaders. And this afternoon, Team 12's political insider Bram Resnick will have a one-on-one interview with Senator Harris.
And breaking right now this morning, we just learned that the second presidential debate will be virtual. But President Trump says he has no interest in participating in a virtual debate. So it's unclear if that debate's even going to happen at this point. If the debate does happen, the candidates will still be in Miami, but in two different locations. We'll keep following this and bring you more as we get it.
All right, Crystal, what's the one thing we need to know when it comes to our forecast today?
An incoming cold front is finally going to be having us feeling like fall as it knocks us out of the triple digits tomorrow for the valley in southern Arizona. But that's also going to hike up the winds and the fire danger in the high country.
The one thing you need to know about traffic is that the I-10 eastbound just past Queen Creek Road has reopened. However, we still see some heavy traffic in the area. Stop and go traffic, so allow yourself some extra travel time when you're heading out over there.
Well, if you haven't seen this video of a guy riding his skateboard, listening to Fleetwood Mac and drinking cranberry juice, it means you probably don't have social media. You've also been missing out. It's really good vibes here. Nathan Apodaca went viral after posting on TikTok, and ocean spray juices have caught on. A rep for the company saw the video, met up with him, brought him a new truck and a whole lot of juice. Apodaca shared the video of him getting his new ride on Instagram.
But I liked his skateboard. I thought that was the sweetest ride.
Yeah, they should have given him a new skateboard too.
He's very aggressive though with the gifter.
Yeah, well,
the ocean spray rep.
He doesn't want the ocean spray rep to realize that he's making a big mistake here for giving away a free truck in that situation. Just run away with the truck, right?
He's like, I'm out of here. It's perfect ocean spray color, which I also love.
It is ocean spray color, but I wonder if the cup holders are big enough for the whole can of juice, the whole jug.
Yeah.
You know? Otherwise, he's gonna have to get a smaller cup.
That would be next level, Ryan.
The way it works. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.